Farmington Polo Grounds, where we find Rob Dibble.
You're not going to find me on a horse or Ben Darnell, but you will find us off to the side watching the festivities here as it is Dream Experience Weekend 2024. And obviously it is one of the biggest events helping the Hometown Foundation, Special Olympics, canines, all kinds of different stuff that it entails. And they raise over $3 million every year. And hopefully if Mike Bizzuto's walking around later, we'll pop him on. But, it's just a gorgeous event here in Farmington. And if you get an opportunity to come tomorrow or Sunday, definitely it's a great cause. But, Ben was already across the way looking at the supercars. There's some cars that, like Ben just checked out, worth $2 million, the Koenigseggs, and they're only going to make 300 of the new one that you just saw. If you're into that kind of stuff, for me, with the Special Olympians years ago, I was allowed to drive one of the supercars, and a Special Olympian, it was actually someone that had Make-A-Wish and had terminal cancer. But for me, the kids can't go on the bikes, so they can't go on the Dreamride. They can't go on the Harleys and stuff like that, the Special Olympians, but they love going in these cars. And over the years, Mike Bizzuto and his friends that are privy to some of the greatest cars on the planet. Some of these cars come from Australia.
Yeah.
They'll ship them over here just for this weekend. We're watching some of the trucks delivering more cars. So there's just all kinds of great stuff that some very generous people allow these kids to see, and that's why it really is the Dreamride experience, and such amazing causes that are attached to it.
As Kurt said, the East Coast, you're talking about Florida and the motorcycle run that used to happen all the way down there going up the East Coast, but this thing has become global. Like, the countries represented out here, Great Britain, New Zealand, Canada, of course, Mexico, Italy, Germany. There's just so many other countries I'm leaving out as well, and all throughout the United States. Kids of all shapes and sizes are going to be out here doing some of the coolest stuff, man, living their dreams in some of these cars. There's going to be a parade. The opening ceremony is at 5:30 here in a little bit today. It goes all through the weekend. We get these kids in some cars that they probably have never even dreamed about riding in and parade them around as they deserve the honor that they get before and after the Special Olympics are happening in our state and around the world. Just checking out some of the cars, man. Like, there's our friends from McLaren at Boston. They brought probably about 15 to 20 cars over there. Just every McLaren in the last 3 years that has been made, all different colors and styles. But what was it that I saw from Sweden?
Koenigsegg.
And the Guerrera?
Yes, the new model. It just came out in 2024, and they're only going to manufacture 300. The starting price. Now, I know guys that I played with bought Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff like that, and that's no radio in it. That's no, like, frills in it.
Right.
That's the base model.
Stock.
So, yeah. So if you want to put a stereo in it and some other stuff, it's going to cost you. But, yeah, listen, it's 960 horsepower. We're talking about Formula One type cars that you could legally drive on the street. Most of these people are collectors, though. A lot of these cars, they're not going to be driving them. It's not their everyday car. A lot of these older cars are probably put away right after this, go into their garages and into their – I mean, when I lived on the West Coast, Michael Jackson had two terminals basically at an airport, and he had hundreds of cars in there. I was privy to that. Down in Florida, my late father-in-law brought me to a friend of his. These collectors, it's an investment. Whether it's Reggie Jackson, Jay Leno, all of these rock stars, they own a lot of these cars, but after a few years, they resell them, and they'll make more money on that car and buy something new or buy something that they really wanted to buy. So I love Jay Leno because he refurbishes a bunch of these old cars, and a lot of these people will bring them here for the Dreamride Experience weekend and allow these kids. And my favorite part about the Special Olympians or the Make-A-Wish kids that are involved is they're treated like rock stars. They have a red carpet. They're announced and they come in, and they're treated with such respect that they gain confidence because some of them go out there. They go into the world. Some of them that are higher functioning, these kids, they'll go on and be able to live on their own and hold down jobs and things like that. And the Dreamride experience is something that gets them started with that. I've been coming to this for a dozen years. It's absolutely phenomenal. It gets bigger and better every year. And Mike Bizzuto, God bless him, he just pours his whole life and soul into this event one week a year. So 51 weeks, like the Travelers, he's getting you ready for this Dreamride Experience weekend.
Yeah, it's a huge, huge undertaking, too, because not only the cars, we have pony rides, we have pet adoption, we have canine Olympics.
Yeah, the Canine Olympics, what they're warming up for, but now you have the polo involved.
By
because,
the way,
raises more money for the Hometown Foundation. They're going to have the polo match tonight, a big celebration tonight, and you get more people to sponsor and more money involved, and it just helps these kids even more.
And they've created such a network for not only the kids but also the families. A lot of these families have been going through some of the same similar situations, so they can share tricks and tips and techniques and different avenues and outlets that they can all kind of benefit from that they may have not known. And now this has become an annual thing for so many families. As you said, 11 years you've been coming here. These families been here since the inception.
Oh, 20 years, absolutely.
I think of this as like the biggest day of the year, and we see all these flags. Like Bizzuto's has put out a flag for each state that's been represented, each country that's been represented, and there's a whole bunch of them out here. They're all over.
Mike flies these Special Olympian kids in from around the world. I mean, that's the whole thing, and so then they can network, and then the rest of the year they develop these friendships. And if these kids travel, then they'll go stay and learn about each other's cultures and things like that. So it's not just this weekend that affects all of these kids here and these adults. It's year-round. That's what Mike Bizzuto's goal was years ago. When it started, I think, with like 20 bikes.
Right.
They started going around trying to get donations and stuff like that. Now it's in the millions and millions of dollars brought in every year.
Yeah, friendship bracelets are a thing this weekend, so if you have any and you're coming out here, bring some because there's a lot of trading that happens. If you want to find this online, dreamride.org is the main website, but for Facebook, facebook.com/Dreamride or /Hometown Foundation. You can find them on Instagram at DreamrideEXP. Plus, they have their own YouTube channel, the Hometown Foundation. But so much stuff is going on. As Dib said, there is a polo match that will start around 6 o'clock. We're used to this as well. I think this will be our third polo match we have seen together. I've been out here now that we've done this, and now that I know polo happens out here all the time on the weekend. I think I've been to like 4 or 5 of them now. 2 this year, so we'll get the polo guy on. I don't remember his name. You remember his name? We don't remember his name, but he's the polo guy to us. He is the guy that does all the announcing and lets everybody know exactly what the hell's going on out there.
Well, last year he laughed at us because we didn't really know the rules.
Yeah, we
didn't know a lot of the
terminology.
And listen, I'm not going to lie. I don't really know a lot about polo.
How many people do, Dibs?
I love the ponies. I love the action. Ben has kind of schooled me on cricket, and I've started looking into that a little bit more.
Coming bigger and bigger, I'll tell you what.
And, but the polo is amazing. Again, my favorite part is you got humans that are trying to control an 1,100, 1,200-pound, horse, riding up and down the polo, I don't know what you call it, the grounds, whatever. But it's not the safest sport either. It's not just something like, hey, we're out here just riding these horses and stuff like that. Some of these people are highly skilled. Some of these people are making a lot of money to play this sport, but for the most part, it's one of the coolest sports to watch.
We did have some sports yesterday. We were bumped from the airwaves because of some Yankees baseball yesterday. Hold on. You want to get this guy on? Here, you want?
Or you can come back if you want. We're here.
Come back?
We're here till 7.
All right, cool.
Mike Bizzuto's here.
Bizzuto, yeah. And 5:30 is the opening ceremonies, right? Okay. So the party started. Party started. We're here.
All right. So we're
started. All right. Excellent.
That sounds good. You're looking great, by the way.
Thank you,
All right.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Mike Bizzuto getting the party started. As we said, 3 o'clock, gates are open already. This sucker's going all the way through the weekend.
Absolutely.
So, the closing ceremonies, I don't think, are till 5 o'clock on Sunday, so you got plenty of opportunity to come out here. And the party started because we just showed up. So
absolutely,
everybody should know that by now.
Absolutely. And what did I tell you, though? I told you that Mike would have the coolest cart.
That's a 4-seater, and
There's
it
a
looks like a car,
4-seater.
but really it's a golf cart.
It's got a table in the middle.
And has a license plate option just in case you want to ride that sucker on the street. That is a sweet golf cart, dude.
Absolutely.
Leather interior as well.
But he deserves it for all the stuff that he did. I remember one year, this is probably about a half a dozen years ago, a lot of his friends got him a convertible Cadillac. That was, I guess, something that he had always wanted and stuff like that, and they wanted to thank him for all the years that he's put into this weekend and for all these other people. And that's not just one of the he does so many damn things, it's so hard to remember some of them. So, like, let's say, Pennsylvania, a canine is killed in the line of duty or one just happens to die. They're between $30,000 and $50,000 to replace a dog. Mike will find out about it. Hometown Foundation will come up with the money. They'll get a puppy or an already experienced dog and get it to that PD.
Yeah.
That's why you have the Canine Olympics and you have these police departments that are involved now with the Hometown Foundation. So that's just one of the many, many, many things that Mike Bizzuto's involved in. My friend Rebecca Kowalski and her KMAC Foundation, when they needed some money, some help, Mike Bizzuto was there. So this guy, you talk about community. That's what Mike Bizzuto and his company, Bizzuto Inc., is all about. And listen, I grew up one town over from IGA and Bizzuto's and that kind of stuff. That was our supermarket we went to, and my dad, we'd go to the supermarket and stuff like that. So you talk about hometown Foundation and Dreamride. It's been in my life for 60 years.
And there's a lot of local stuff that we know of, like Lime Rock is right across the street from us, or right across the polo grounds from us. A lot of local vendors here participate in this, and this is, again, just like it's an annual thing for most of these Special Olympians and all their families. It's an annual thing for a lot of these local businesses as well. Dreamride, we're out here today. The whole entire weekend, it's going to be in full effect. Not only food trucks, but they have a huge dinner buffet, and they have live music each and every night. There's a DJ that plays violin while he DJs tonight. That's the thing.
So he basically can multitask.
He's multitasking, performing two different shows.
Which I know
at
I
once.
can't do that.
But we are going to be weaving some sports in between the Dreamride.
Well, let's talk
section.
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge, number 48 yesterday.
Number 48 yesterday, 6-0 on the Guardians. Well, listen, none of these pitches, some of them that he's hitting are eye level. They're away from him. They're inside. They're trying to pitch around him. There's 34 games left for the Yankees. Now, you've been last year or 2 years ago, you had him on his sixth.
Right.
So right now he's right in the ballpark with 34 games remaining. They're at 128. They're in first place by a couple of games over the Orioles. Astros helped them out big time last night with a 6-0 shutout of the Orioles. The Yankees shut out the Guardians 6-0 yesterday. That's why we were knocked off the air for most of the day. But let's talk about that, man. This guy doesn't care. They were talking about him yesterday. It was also a milestone for Garrett Cole. Got his 150th win of his career, which he may be one of the last to get to 250 if he's around long enough to get to 250 wins. But Aaron Judge is a monster. He has now done something in the last 95 games that is historic. 43 home runs, over 100 RBI, hitting 375. It's never been done in the history of Major League Baseball in that span of games. Right now, he's on pace to win the Triple Crown. He's only 18 points behind Bobby Witt Jr. In the batting average, but he's easily got the home runs. He's easily got the RBIs right now. So I think the only thing on Aaron Judge's mind, World Series. Winning a championship.
Yeah, I know. I'm just such a romantic with this number, man. Like 61, 62, 60 for me. I know it's a different number in some people's minds, but for me, that's the home run record. And I'm a huge Aaron Judge fan. I've always loved this guy ever since he came in. And I want him to break his own record, and I want him just to keep on hitting home runs. But if I am other teams, I am not pitching to him one iota. I do agree that this whole team.
Let me just stop you there. There's sometimes you have to pitch to him. You can have the bases loaded. You're not going to walk in and run.
Right.
You could have a base open, and so you can walk him, but then you get Juan Soto behind him. He even talked about this last night when Giancarlo Stanton is on, which he is right now.
Great point. He had a big home run yesterday.
If you walk Judge, you get Stanton. If you put Soto behind him, you get Soto. So it's really hard to be like, okay, let's just put Judge on, because then you put Judge on. First of all, he's fast enough where he doesn't clog the bases and become a double play candidate. So there's a lot of reasons why they're trying to pitch to them. Here's the last part about this. This is my job to get you out. He's not just the best hitter in the major leagues. They're all good hitters. And he's even got another great hitter on his team in Juan Soto, who's going to be about $500 million richer this offseason. So it's kind of like twofold. Yeah, we don't want to pitch to him, but there's certain times when you have to, and that's when he makes you pay.
I think that if Juan Soto is behind him, that decision is a lot harder. Like, let's just imagine, because, yeah, if Stanton's behind him and he's hitting balls
I'd much rather face Stanton.
That ball that he hit to deep center was not a strike. That was low and outside, and he went down and muscled that sucker out. And like you're saying, if he's doing that, then this is not a conversation. But right now, I'm still going to not believe it until I see it for a couple of weeks with Giancarlo. If Soto starts an inning, let's just say we're starting in the 2 spot, and he laces a double.
I walk Judge, absolutely.
Judge, whether it's Stanton, whether it's Austin
But that
Wells.
also sets up a force at any, other than home.
Exactly.
Third,
true.
second, and first.
True.
So,
well, even if he starts with the triple, I'm walking
Right.
him in again. So, you got a double play ball possibly coming your way. But if Soto is behind him, then I am going to take my chances trying to strike him out.
Listen,
because I'll give up a solo.
I agree with you
That's
100%.
fine.
I'd rather have Soto behind him than in front of him, because if I happen to, like you said, give up the double to Soto, even giving up a single to Soto, now I got a guy on base.
Right.
I'm not going to walk Judge and put a guy in scoring position.
Right.
So they're thinking, okay, we're going to get Soto in at bat in the first inning of every game, and if there's a guy on, here's the problem: the first and second hitters in the Yankees lineup usually suck. Their on-base percentage is at 300, which means 7 out of 10 times they're not getting on base.
It would help if the
It would
leadoff
help
batter.
if the leadoff guy was better. It would help
Yeah.
if the number 2-hole hitter was better. If we move Soto to the 2-hole, then okay, so we've got Soto coming up and Judge coming up, and if those guys make outs, now the next 8
exactly.
batters
You're waiting.
to get back.
Right.
You're not panicking if you're the opponent, and that's when the Yankees have struggled. When those guys go 0 for 7 or 0 for 8 or 1 for 8. The rest of the lineup, I'm not afraid of anybody in the rest of the lineup.
And I do think there's something right now with the comfort level of Judge behind Soto. Like, we even saw this in the All-Star game. Like, this is how the lineup kind of went, even though it was 3-4 instead of 2-3. So, like, if I'm thinking World Series and only World Series, I don't care about a home run record, keep doing what you're doing. Don't upset the apple cart. It's working. Like, Soto and Judge, where they're at, they might have some comfort there. Maybe the rest of the lineup has some comfort there. But if we're really concerned about Judge getting pitched to and hitting more home runs, put Soto behind him, and he's going to break 62.
Yeah, we'll have more. We'll talk some more baseball in a little bit.
We got a lot to get.
Let's talk some
get through
football.
on
Last
baseball.
night, we're getting this the last weekend where you won't have college or NFL football.
Well, we got some college.
You got
tomorrow.
some college, but you don't have a full slate of college.
Right.
But in the NFL, this is the last preseason weekend. They're A players, not a lot of them. I watched some of the Bengals as well. Joe Burrow, he was standing around with his beautiful blonde hair.
Right.
He didn't play street clothes Joe for last night. But what do you think? Other than that injury that's taken a lot of the headlines away from the actual game, Bears look a lot better than they have in the last few years. I've been watching Hard Knocks, watching how much effort they put into the defense, but watching how much effort they put into the offense.
Yeah.
Bears could be not potentially a playoff team, but certainly a better team than they've been in the last couple of years.
It's more than just Caleb Williams. I think a lot of those guys too, with another
Keenan Allen, their running game.
Oh,
I
yes.
mean,
Some of
they've
those
got some good
additions,
players.
Like the receiving core is one of the better ones in the entire league. If you just look at from 1, 2, and 3 positions, like Keenan Allen's always been a number 1, but you would think Morgan is going to be the number 1 in Chicago, but to have 2 number 1s on the outside on both sides of the ball is just incredible for Caleb Williams. But the rest of the offense has stepped up, I think. Offensive line's played a lot better in these first 3 weeks. But, again, it's preseason. I don't really know what exactly I'm watching. That second half for the Colts and Bengals felt like a tailback dive exposition for 2 quarters. Anthony Richardson, the young guy from the Colts quarterback who didn't only play a handful of snaps until he got injured, he had a great opening drive, and then he threw a pick 6 and could barely move the ball after that. Again, I don't know exactly what I'm looking at when it's 1s on 1s, 1s on 2s.
No, I don't even know who are the B linemen in? Are the threes in there? Who's on defense? Are you putting the ones against the threes?
I think
that's kind of not fun to watch.
There's a lot of surprises, I think, in week 1 that a lot of people weren't looking at just because no one's really showing their cards yet. The name of the game this year has been stay healthy. Don't try to push it. Don't try to show anything. You kind of know what you have already. There were some quarterback battles, and there's still one in Pittsburgh, I think, that needs to get settled. But for the most part, and New England, for the most part, people know exactly where they're going to be. The thing is, this week, finding out 47 through 53, and who are those last guys on your roster you want to keep?
Yeah, that's a great take right there. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk more Dreamride, the polo match coming up here in a little bit. They're like an hour away from getting the horses out here and getting warmed up. Also, we'll talk some more about the weekend ahead and who you got coming up next hour. And Andy Serling is going to handicap the Travers coming up this weekend at Saratoga. So you don't want to miss any of this stuff. Thank you so much for keeping us on the air. It's the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell on your afternoon drive here on Fox Sports Radio.